the bit that I hear a lot of too, and I'd be interested to see whether you're seeing any of this as well, that there are more and more candidates using generative AI for their application.
Yeah.
And maybe in your process that doesn't matter. You don't have opportunities where people provide a cover letter or a CV in there. But are you across your volume applications seeing AI being used, and some of it well and some of it badly, in terms of candidate applications?
We can definitely tell. So we definitely know when someone's using it badly.
Okay.
Because you can
Yes.
generally tell,
Yes.
like their experience doesn't add up to what's being described in their job description. You know, if someone is a junior engineer and they're describing themselves as a principal engineer, you know that something's not right.
Mm-hmm.
But that's an assumption, and I think assumptions are dangerous,
Yes.
right? So, I personally think every candidate should use generative AI to help them articulate the thought. What would be
Yes.
the fear?
Yes.
What's the problem? Let's imagine
Yes.
everybody was great at using generative AI. What would happen?
Like everybody being great at using a calculator, you
Exactly.
know, they don't have to worry about their mental maths. They'll just be good at doing the basic maths. Yeah.
Exactly. And I think when it comes to generative AI, because of the scope it can cover, that's where the fear is. Well, if everybody's good at generative AI, then I wouldn't need engineers. I wouldn't need this. I wouldn't need that. I just need, people inputting. No, of course, that's not how it works, because generative AI is based on a foundation of data that was inputted in the first place that human beings created. So
Yes.
I think there's an element where I'm not fearful at all of candidates using generative AI. I encourage it. I think they should be able to articulate their thoughts as the best as they can. I'm also very confident in our recruitment process. So,
Yes.
that's just the entry.
Yes.
You still have to get on a phone call and speak to our recruiters. I think when it comes to the future, though, there does need to be some sort of sense check on people's experience. So like my recruiters, what they'll typically do is if they'll look at LinkedIn profiles, they'll look at recommendations, they'll look at the person's previous experience, the companies they worked for, try to understand the projects that they worked on. I think when you can ask the question, okay, you worked at Spotify, what did you work on?
Yes.
What was the project you worked on? Generally, that level of detail, generative AI can't really provide. Or it can make it up, sure. But, you'll get caught out eventually when you do a technical assessment, or when you go through the second round of interview, and maybe we're not assessing technicality, maybe we're assessing emotional intelligence.
Yes.
And that's where I think the assessing cognitive ability is very important as well.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, no, I agree with that, and I think that's something that GenAI is not going to be able to replace. But I just to go back to that point, and I think you're right about encouraging, because it's really interesting. I was at an event last week talking to people in early careers and TA leaders there about what's your perspective on it. And there was a lady from HSBC there saying internally, they are great believers in GenAI. Also somebody from Slaughter and May, and their worry was, though, they felt that people should be using exactly your point on this, but they hadn't changed and they hadn't made an announcement. So if you're a candidate, have you put anything on your career website, for example, to say, look, we don't mind if you use GenAI. In fact, it's great if you do, but we're still looking for human creativity on this. So use it, but use it carefully. I think there needs to be some advice, doesn't there, going out to candidates on, is this a good thing or a bad thing?
So our generative AI policy is going live soon.
Okay.
Just need to finalize on the wording, but because you don't want to be the ones that kind of encourage it to the point where you don't know how people will use it in a malicious way.
Yes.
So what we're doing is more acknowledging it. So we know that generative AI exists. We know people are going to use it. We don't mind you using it, but we prefer to talk about people's skills, and we want people to join us due to our values, and you'll be a part of a culture. So it's important to bring your true self, and that's part of one of our values. And that's why during the interview process, we will ask you, or it would be recommended for you to share, if there is any topics that you've kind of used GenAI on. I think when it comes to GenAI, though, just one of the fear factors going back to your previous question, is especially in the recruitment space, is data privacy.
Yes.
It's a huge topic, and I think we're generally quite risk adverse. We do not want to do anything that will get us in trouble. Right? So there is a couple of, I'm sure you've heard about it, where generative AI has either made up things that are not true, or they've leaked information is stored and other people are able to access it. I don't know about how true the other people are able to access it, but I did hear about this as well. So whatever you input is in forever.
Yes.
Right?
You just got to assume that'll be in the public domain at some point, even if it may not be now.
Right, exactly. So for me to say, hey, I've just purchased this property, you have to be very careful about what type of information you put in. And I think people they realize that takes a bit of effort. The diligence and the auditing of your information. So I can't be bothered. I don't want to do that. Why am I going to make up random pseudonames when I'm trying to build an email that's going to go out to all employees? I'll just write it myself.
I absolutely, understand all of that. My final question on this particular element is going back to something that you said earlier about Chrome extensions. And I read something the other day that there's a Chrome extension that means you, at the click of a button, you can send off 400 personalized applications. The prompts are preset in order for you to indicate, go to the HelloFresh career website, look at the job description, personalize it based on my inputs.
Yeah. Are
you worried at all that, going back to some of the malicious side, you want people to use GenAI, but there's an automation and efficiency piece on this, that at a click of a button you can send 400 applications, that you're going to be inundated? And
no, I think it's a great problem to have. Like someone saying to me, hey, you're going to be inundated with CVs. Great. That's my problem to fix now.
Yes.
So like we have this concept in HelloFresh. We launched TA 4.0, which is basically transforming existing roles into more broader specialisms. So we had specialist roles like coordinators and sourcers just doing sourcing. And we moved them from sourcing to sourcing and talent marketing and employer branding, from coordination to coordination and talent intelligence.
Right. Yes.
So that was TA 4.0. 5.0 is turning candidates into customers. And 6.0 is one of the things we talk about where we're saying get rid of CVs.
Nice. Well, that's something that I'm very passionate about. Right.
Because what if CVs, I don't know what the answer is.
Yes.
That was these are just innovation projects. So we have our delivery work, we have a process excellence work, which is our getting A to B, improving, and then innovation work. And what I'm referencing is the innovation work. And that getting rid of CVs, like what a beautiful problem to have. If someone said, hey, yes, I don't apply for jobs, I just press this button, I apply for 5,000 jobs. What a genius. Tell me how.
Yes.
Like why would I be fearful of that?
Yes.
What I need to now do is there's some work on my end, which is, okay, I can't physically go through 1 million applications a month. So what technology can I use to evaluate all these profiles? Guess what I've done now? 2 months ago, my recruiters were individually going through every single profile.
Right.
Now I've got a problem that's forcing me into using technology to review it. Mm-hmm. Now, if I go to my team now and I say to them, hey, everyone, we're using AI and generative AI or some magical tool that's going to evaluate CVs, their immediate response is they won't know. It won't work.
Yes.
Yeah. They might be,
it'll introduce bias. I think that's the biggest thing that people worry about.
So maybe I'm not giving my team enough credit. They're very optimistic about tooling, but there is some bias element.
Yes.
Now, okay, I get 1 million CVs. What does it do? It forces you.
Yes.
You there's no excuse. What are you supposed to do? Ignore there's 1 million people?
Yes.
In the end, people can either wait till they're forced to change. Yes. Or they can start changing now in advance. So every time there is a hurdle, kind of look at it and say, well, am I going to deal with this hurdle now? Or am I eventually going to have to deal with it when it turns into a mountain?
I love that. Yes, Annie, you're absolutely right. And it's how I think that, we were talking a little bit earlier that the excitement about GenAI is about all the benefits it's going to bring. But equally, there is this tsunami that's going to happen, because the efficiencies that are available to you are also available to a candidate.
Yeah.
And I love your optimism around this. And as a sort of technology software founder, I am a great believer of, yes, let's use it, and if it creates a problem, then let's find a solution to that problem, rather than maintaining the status quo, because the CV for me is completely outdated in a world of GenAI, digitization, social mobility.